Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord and we're going to be doing the first of a series of spouse videos. And so it's been requested that I go through the best wives to go after in this game, and so I'm going to do 5. I've picked out 5 for each faction that I find to be pretty dang good spouses, and I'll be doing them one video at a time. So today is the Aserai one. And now things to be considered when picking out a spouse. For one thing, I know that I'm only doing wives here, so just in brief, because it's not really worth a full video, if you're playing as a female character and looking for a male spouse, typically the best way to go is to just pick whichever single male is available that has the most power. Just because in the game, if you want to gain stuff through marriage, the best way to do it from a female perspective is to find yourself a king or a lord with a lot of fiefs that is open to marriage, because then essentially when you marry them, you just, are able to take control of what they have. It's not nearly as complex. Now, when you're looking for a wife in the game, there's multiple different reasons. So you're playing as a male character, you want to marry a female character, and you're going to be looking for one that you can have children with is the biggest thing about getting married in this game. A lot of people will say, oh, I picked this person because they have the best armor. Armor is extremely easy to get and makes such a negligible difference in the game. It is hilarious to me that people will choose their spouse specifically because they can just take their armor. That's a ridiculous reason to do it. What you need to look for is, you obviously want one that's young so you can have plenty of children with them. You want one preferably that starts off with decent skills, especially if you want them to either lead a war party, fight in your party, or govern any of your settlements, because, you can pick specific ones with better skills for that type of stuff. And of course, it's good to pick one with good traits so they're not throwing a fit, or at least compatible traits with your playstyle. So with all that stuff in mind, since this is the first video in the series, I'll explain it here and never again. Or probably. Let's just jump on in, and we'll start off with the 5th one that I picked for the Aserai faction. So the person that I chose to put at the number 5 spot is Sultana, and she is part of the Banu Sarmal. So her father is Audhan. That's how you find her, basically. You just go into the Banu Sarmal, and you'll find her through, her father. It's typically the way that you do it. And there's a lot of reasons I chose her. Now, basically, I've tested out each spouse that I decided to put on this list. Well, and quite a few others to find out which ones I didn't want to do. And it comes down to a number of factors. For one, I don't like picking any spouses that have real bad traits or seem to never have kids despite, trying over and over again. So that's always something that I like to avoid. But I also take into account their age and their starting skills, and to a lesser extent, just mostly for roleplay, their appearance and their tribal affiliation. So like what clan they're in, is that a powerful clan? If it's the leader's children, it plays a higher role. Like I said, that stuff's all very minor, but I do consider it a little bit. But anyway, I picked Sultana for a number of reasons. As far as combat's concerned, she doesn't have a whole lot going for her. Obviously, you can train her up, but she really only starts with a notable riding skill, so she makes a passable cavalry soldier if you want her to fight in your party. As far as other skills, though, she's got a pretty decent starting trade and steward skill, which makes her a pretty good governor for any settlement you might have. So starting off near 100 for trade and at 100 or over 100 for steward, that's a pretty good start, and you're already a lot better than most of the available spouses in the game with those skills. So if you have a settlement and you're getting married and you want someone to govern them, it's good to be able to put your spouse in there, and Sultana makes a good one for that one. As far as outside of that, her starting traits are honest, which is always a trait I enjoy in spouses in the game, and cautious. And now cautious can be bad for like a general or a party member, but it's actually not bad for a spouse that you intend on keeping in a city. So if you want her to stay in the city and just, crank out as many children as possible, it's actually good to have her be nice and cautious. So I rate her as being pretty good for having kids, and as a pretty good governor for settlements. You could train her into being a general or a soldier, but it's not really what she's good at. So she takes the number 5 spot, and she's, like I said, part of the Banu Sarmal clan, which is neither the strongest nor the weakest in the Aserai, so she makes a really solid middle-of-the-road spouse.
I don't think I know you. Peace to you, stranger.
And I do enjoy her personality. She's not snide like a lot of people are in the game. So, no, I genuinely enjoy Sultana. So that's number 5. Let's move on to number 4. So, number 4, I have Hafiza of the Banu Atij. She is another one that comes in pretty close to the same sort of a feeling as Sultana. She's got a couple more things going for her, but basically starts off at the same age, so she's nice and young. Obviously, I'm a little bit into the game. Not super far, but a little ways in. So she starts off being decently young, plenty young to have plenty of children. Again, for stats, it's going to be real similar there. We're going to see no standout combat stats other than riding, but then we get that nice high, or at least decently high trade and steward ability, so she makes a passable governor. As far as some traits she starts off with, you can see she's generous, honest, and calculating. All of these are, like I said, good traits to have in a wife, especially a wife that you plan on keeping in a settlement, because like I said, she just doesn't excel from the start in combat of any sort. Again, for her clan, it's neither the biggest nor the smallest. They only start off with the one settlement, but it is of course a town, so not bad. As far as role play aspects go, it would make sense that you, as a new and relatively unknown person, this would be a clan that you would possibly be able to marry into. So for role play aspects, I think it's good.
Well now, stranger. Peace to you. What is your name?
And of course, as far as personality goes, I find her to not be annoying at all, so I think she makes a solid companion. So that is number 4, Hafiza. Let's move on to number 3. Okay, and at number 3 we have Manon, and she is the daughter of Thais, who is the leader of the Banu Killed. So this one is a bit more of a powerful clan, so for roleplay it's always fun to go for someone nice and powerful, and this clan is decent. As far as she goes, she's going to be pretty similar to what we've already covered. She doesn't start off with like ridiculously good armor or great combat stats or anything like that. The only thing standout is her riding ability, but she's got other stuff going for her. For one thing, she's got a pretty dang high charm skill, so that's good. It's a good governing skill. It's part of statecraft, so that helps to make her a decent governor. Her steward skill is 65, so it's quite a bit lower than the ones we've looked at, but that paired with the charm, I still find makes her a pretty solid governor. So if you want her to be, you know, in charge of your settlement and helping to make it prosperous, profitable, and all that sort of stuff, she's very good at that. As far as traits, she's got merciful and calculating. Again, these are good traits for a wife. I find her to be a pretty solid choice. Like I said, she doesn't blow your socks off in any regard, but she makes a real solid wife, and I've had successful playthroughs with plenty of children with Manon.
Peace to you, stranger. What is your name?
Again, solid personality, not annoying at all, doesn't condescend or snap or act like she's too good for you. I find that she is a solid person that never annoys me. That's really what it comes down to for personality. So that's number 3, Manon. Let's move on to number 4. So at number 2, we've got Anita, who is actually my current wife in this playthrough. So pay no attention to the steward skill down there, which you'll see is quite a bit higher. She obviously doesn't start that high. That being said, she does start right around 100, I believe, for steward. So definitely not bad. As far as her positives go, other than the steward there, she starts off with also decent trade and charm. Again, no real combat skills other than riding, but she makes a very solid wife. One of my favorites in the game, in fact. Or at least, I should say, in the top 10 probably overall, but definitely one of my favorites for the Aserai, of course. Like I said, she's my current wife in this one, and we got married. She basically got pregnant immediately, gave birth to a healthy baby, and then got pregnant again 6 days later. So you can see that she definitely is one that is great if you're trying to build a large clan. She is also the daughter of Unkid, the ruler of the Aserai, so roleplay-wise, she's one of my favorite people from the Aserai to marry, because, you know, you're marrying the daughter of the ruler of the Aserai, so that's always fun. And I find the children with her are also quite robust children, especially if you've got any good stats to speak of. Again, she starts off nice and young, doesn't really have any bad traits. She's got cautious again, but like I said, that's not a bad trait as long as you don't want them to do any fighting. A cautious wife that stays at home is a good wife. I know that may sound bad, but again, we're just talking in the context of this game. And then, of course, calculating, which again is also quite good. She's not a very emotional, like, hard to predict person. Pretty solid overall.
I offer you my loyalty.
Her personality is a bit, I don't know, maybe not extreme, but intense probably. But she doesn't annoy me again, so makes a solid choice there. But as the daughter of Unkid, definitely comes off a little intense. But like I said, makes a solid match, and definitely one of the best Aserai spouses you can find. Finally, at number 1, we have everyone's favorite Aserai wife, Arwa. And so she's definitely different than the ones we've looked at so far. For one thing, she does start out with pretty great combat stats and everything in general. You can see tactics, she's 120, which is really solid. Some other strengths, 220 in polearm, which is real strong, 210 in one-handed, 190 in two-handed. So she's very well balanced, 210 in riding. She's quite the warrior. So if you're looking for a spouse to fight in your party, out of all the Aserai spouses, she's definitely the best, because she just comes with really good stats to start with. Also, she's only 23, so still plenty young to have some children with. As far as stats, or not stats, but traits that she starts with, generous, which is good. Devious, which might not be great, but if you're planning on doing kind of a roguish playthrough where you maybe raid some villages and behead some people, it won't bother her nearly as much. And she's also daring, which is good for a combative person, someone that you want to fight or maybe lead a war party in your clan. It's good to have the daring trait. So very solid from a military aspect. As far as governing goes, you can see we've got a steward of 60, so that's pretty low, but it's not terrible. It starts off high enough that she would not be incompetent at governing a settlement. Charm of 140, which is quite high, and that's very good. No trade to speak of, but honestly, when you've got decent governing skills like that and very good combat skills, along with a solid suit of armor, it's a pretty good match.
Stop there, stranger. I bid you peace. At least until I find out who you are, anyway.
So personality-wise, I find Arwa to be a bit annoying. I don't really care for her a lot. She's not nearly as bad as certain people in the game, especially a lot of well-known ones that you might be able to share your thoughts about down in the comment section. Definitely not as welcoming and nice, I would say, maybe, as all 4 of the other ones we looked at on this list. So, like I said, Arwa's definitely great. I know a lot of people love her. She definitely is well-balanced. So she's got good stats in all the combat areas. Starts with good armor, so if you really need to steal the armor from your spouse, she's got a good set of it. And she can produce children, obviously. There's nothing that says she can't. She's nice and young, and you just have to do the right stuff. But there are going to be pros and cons to everything, but I do find her to be probably the best overall for Aserai spouses. So that is the top 5 wives from the Aserai. I know this is probably a weird format for a video, but if you were looking for it, hey, it's here. So that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.